We come to now the part of VV Most as a concept where the rubber hits the ground, where where things really become much more practical and how we make things really happen. So what's the point of having values and vision and mission if we're not going to find ways why we're doing this? What are the actual things we're going to deliver? And that's when we do the O part of VV Most. So we've done the V, we've done the second V, we've done the M, and now we come to objectives. We always, as a business or as a human being, need to set ourselves objectives. Otherwise, how do we move towards them if we don't know where we're going to? Those objectives don't have to be set in stone, absolute musts, unless you're in that kind of industry. But generally speaking, we need objectives, and there are four different types of objectives, the permutations of combinations. Yeah, one is time related, and the other one is basically type in terms of quantification or qualification. So first of all, we need to think about 1 year objectives, because the market and the bank and the people that you're employing do expect you to actually be able to deliver in a foreseeable time span. So we do call these operational objectives, 1 to 12 months. Something that you have a plan for, you have a budget for, and you're going for, and people measure you on a day-to-day basis, on a quarterly basis, or on a yearly basis. Then we have what we call strategic objectives. When I was growing up a long, long time ago, yeah, strategic objectives were 10, 15, 25 years time. Okay, those days have gone because of technology and the speed of movement of things and competition and so on. Strategic objectives now are anything up to about 3 to 5 years. Even 5 years, some people will tell you that they are far too long, okay, to predict what you're gonna do in 5 years time. But generally, we tend to say anything from basically 3 to 5 years are strategic objectives. So there are two types of objectives: operational and strategic. So we need to always, as organizations, have an idea of, we definitely have to know what are our 12 months operational objectives, but we need to also work. Otherwise, we won't convince our stakeholders that we're serious about strategy, about what we're going to go to in the future and how we're going to get to it in 3 years and so on. So we need operational set of objectives, and we need 3 to 5 year set of objectives, which we'll call them, for the purpose of this, strategic objectives. Also, objectives don't have to be quantifiable. They could be qualitative or quantitative. So, of course, we need to have the obvious ones in terms of sales or turnover or top line, as some people will call it. I like using the term top line, but that means revenue, total sales, and what comes in, because that gives me a relationship with the market. And where am I in it? Am I a small bit player, or medium bit player, or large player? Okay, do I want to be a large fish in a small pond, or the other way around? Okay, so that's pretty critical. But also, a lot of people want to have qualitative objectives, although we try to somehow make some way of measuring them. Employee engagement index is a qualitative objective, although people say, oh, this is definitely, there's a quantity in there. No, the quantification is much less than the type of quantification you have when you talk about market share, or you talk about revenue and so on. So there are basically customer satisfaction is a qualitative objective. Yeah, we will find metrics to measure it, but it's not actually a measurable, as in scientific terms, like what is the profit, what is the operating expense. Yeah, there are differences between the two, and that's what I mean by it. So your objectives are important, and the two aspects of your objectives you need to always keep an eye on: the operational side and the strategic side, and that's time dependent. Okay, we define it by the time, and that applies also to you as a human being. You have operation. What am I going to? We actually make resolutions at the end of every year. What am I going to do for the next? What are my resolutions for next year? These are your objectives. Some of them could be qualitative, some of them could be quantitative. But also in the back of your mind, you should have a 3 to 5 year objectives as well. So you can apply it whatever size of business you are, or at a personal level as well. But it's critical. Now, the other thing to watch out for when you look at those objectives is how do they tie into your mission, and how do they tie into your vision, and how do they tie into, are they in that direction? Do they take you in that direction? So if one of the things you have put up is you want to be one of the top 3 companies in a particular market, do your objectives take you there? If they don't, guess what? There is no alignment. And guess what? The lack of alignment, the market and the people and your stakeholders will say, this is BS. These guys are not authentic. They are chasing something which doesn't fit with what they told me they want to be. And guess what? You will come as a fake. And the brand starts getting affected. So objectives are critical because they are the ones that you're going to now cascade down the organization. The CEO will hold them, the top, and they will cascade that down the organization. And if I were a CEO, I will increase them by a certain percentage so I make sure I hit them. Otherwise the market will get at me. Because not all of my N-1 and N-2, the direct reports and the one below and the ones below, are going to meet them. So I'm going to make sure that I've covered the organization in such a way that we meet our objectives to our stakeholders, okay, irrespective of whether certain elements of the organization, as Murphy's Law would say, will miss probably their objectives as well. So make sure that you have some resilience and you have some inbuilt contingencies within those objectives before you cascade them down as well. I will stop here for the objectives. We'll come back to it. This is another time.